To help me introduce each reader, we have our graduate student representative on our executive committee, Gloria Montez. Gloria, why don't you come up for a moment? Gloria just defended her thesis last night. Soon to be MFA graduate. Gloria is a third-year graduate student in our creative writing program. She is our first student rep on the Alumni Chapter board. She is a former Philip Levine Prize editorial assistant. She is this year's Philip Levine Scholar, our second one. And she's a very talented young lady and wonderful poet. She's going to introduce tonight's readers. Gloria.
Okay. First up, we have Kenneth Chacón. He's a Fresno native, and he received his MFA his MFA from Fresno State in 2014. And he currently teaches English and Chicano studies at Fresno City College. His first book is The Cholo Who Said Nothing and Other Poems. It was just released in January. And Lee Herrick, who's the current poet laureate of Fresno, calls Chacón's book a portrait of confession and redemption, survival, family, and grace. So I'm really excited to hear from this book. Ken Chacón.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. It's a very special occasion for me, and so thank you to Jefferson and all those of you who made this possible. So I was asked to share my favorite poem from Larry Levis, and I admit I didn't have a great, I haven't had a lot of experience with Levis's poetry. When I was a student here, I was kind of angry. It was a kind of Chicano righteous anger, and so if I was going to read any poetry from the Fresno area, it was going to be Chicanos. I'm sorry. I've since gotten over that, and it was actually at the documentary last year where I was really exposed to Levis's work, and the one poem that really stood out to me was Winter Stars. My father once broke a man's hand over the exhaust pipe of a John Deere tractor. The man, Ruben Vasquez, wanted to kill his own father with a sharpened fruit knife, and he held the curved tip of it lightly between his first two fingers so it could slash horizontally and with surprising grace across a throat. It was like a glinting beak in a hand, and for a moment the light held still on those vines. When it was over, my father simply went in and ate lunch, and then, as always, lay alone in the dark, listening to music. He never mentioned it. I never understood how anyone could risk his life, then listen to Vivaldi. Sometimes, I go out into this yard at night and stare through the wet branches of an oak in winter, and realize I am looking at the stars again, a thin haze of them, shining and persisting. It used to make me feel lighter looking up at them. In California, that light was closer. In a California no one will ever see again. My father is beginning to die. Something is inside of him is slowly taking back every word it ever gave him. Now, if we try to talk, I watch my father search for a lost syllable as if it might solve everything. And though he can't remember now the word for it, he is ashamed. If you think of the mind as a place continually visited, a whole city placed behind the eyes and shining, I can imagine now its end, as when the lights go off, one by one in a hotel at night, until at last all the travelers will be asleep, or until the thin glow from the lobby is a kind of sleep. And while the woman behind the desk is applying more lacquer to her nails, you can almost believe that the elevator, as it ascends, must open upon starlight. I stand out on the street and do not go in. That was our agreement at my birth. And for years I believed that what went unsaid between us became empty and pure like starlight, and that it persisted. I got it all wrong. I wound up believing in words the way a scientist believes in carbon after death. Tonight, I'm talking to you, Father, although it is quiet here in the Midwest, where a small wind the size of a wrist wakes the cold again, which may be all that's left of you and me. When I left home at 17, I left for good. That pale haze of stars goes on and on, like laughter that has found a final silent shape on a black sky. It means everything it cannot say. Look, it's empty out there, and cold, cold enough to reconcile even a father, even a son. All right. Okay, so, yeah, my book just came out. Yeah. I'm very excited. I think it's fair to say I am blessed beyond blessed. I mean, you know, I did get my MFA in poetry, I think in 2004 from Fresno State. And, but I kind of put away writing for many years. You know, that's what you do. You get a job, and the job kind of consumes you. And I think it was about 3 years ago I started just making it a habit to write and write and write and write. And, you know, I feel better about myself. Okay, so I'm going to start with a poem. Everybody knows what the Ghetto Bird is, right? Okay. If you're from Fresno, you should know what the Ghetto Bird is. Right? And it sounds like this. There's that sound, and my wife will tell you, I hate that sound. It gives me asco. I'm like, oh, no. But every time I hear it, you know, I know that somebody is out there being chased. Something out there is going on and it's bad and people's lives are in danger. And I picture, you know, some homeboy who took a left when he should have taken a right and did something, and now he's running from his life. And maybe he even took a life. And it just makes me sad. So of course, what do poets do? We write the poem Song of the Ghetto Bird, and it starts with an epigraph. Sheriff Steve McGarrion unveiled 2 gleaming green and gold McDonnell Douglas 500E 420 horsepower turbine-powered helicopters Wednesday to boost the Fresno Sheriff's Department's arsenal against crime. And that's from the Fresno Bee. I am the Ghetto Bird, the eye in the sky. I whir and wind, looking for bones and small men who hold sabers and chop flesh into pitiful chunks. I see everything from here, the streets illuminated like filaments, like bright stars that have imploded into black holes. They never sleep, these streets. They pulsate like alveoli stringing through the chest of the city, this tomb of children. I shine down ant holes into pathetic living rooms with large flickering screens, into lost lives where wives cluck at men as they recline on dingy sofas. I see the sins of the father stamped into the chromosomes of the son, their skin itching, etched with ink as they release smoke from their vulgar mouths, their beards and hands and souls smelling of beer and motor oil, as they stare at guns on coffee tables, their stunted minds all the time contemplating violence. Their sadness plays out before me. Nothing is hidden. A never-ending matinee, a movie on the big screen you would never pay to see, the characters outlined in chalk. I am proof that there is no God above or hell below, but only a man's conscience, which amounts to nothing. If I look closely enough, if I shine down your throat into your heart, I can see the crimes you'll plan before you plan them, and that should be safety enough. Right. I'm gonna put my wife on blast. There she is over there. That is my beautiful wife, Karina. Okay, so if you buy the book, $15, I think the first two sections are highly autobiographical. The third section, I try to branch out, and it's but the first two are, I can't say they're 100% autobiographical, but they're pretty darn close. And I don't make it a secret that I've come from a background of gangs and drugs. I think I first started selling crystal meth when I was probably 17. And then once you start selling it, you start using it. And then once you start using it, you can't stop. And so I did suffer, or I should say I made myself suffer through an addiction for years. And it was something that I just kind of battled with. I tried to be the man that I thought God would want me to be, but man, just the addiction kept holding me down. But there was one great thing about being addicted to crystal meth. You're getting this right on the camera. And that was the sex. I don't recommend trying crystal meth at all, but if you do, be sure to have sex. So, and I think my wife would agree. So I wrote this poem after such an occasion. It's called High Again, I Make a Promise to My Wife, to Karina. It's been 20 years since our bodies started banging together dumbly, puddling into one obtuse object, one in the eyes of God. But we've only been one 12 for 12, according to the text box of tax brackets stamped with the golden seal of California, the state that fought to split us apart as teens, pulling at your heel with the promise of food stamps and Section 8, meals and warmth, those things I could not provide. But the Lord is one. Here we are, many years later, our story defiant as it winds through the hallway of 2 decades, the laughter of children filling the spaces, as familiar as the faux goose feather comforter that covers us now. Your strong, padded frame has always been there when I've reached for it, my lamb's heart clamoring against the cage of my body, the bedposts about to sing, the cast iron about to play out its symphony, timber climbing walls until everyone must hear. I have no more secrets, no more apologies, no more smart answers to deflect. I have always been a tether, a burden, your eldest child, bleeding at your leg like a calf who doesn't see his mother. Yet I would surprise you, startle you with my manhood, not pressed against your thigh, but thrown over my shoulders, a cloak trimly fit. I would be a man, finally come upon you, all at once, a stalwart coat of arms, a rampart to shield you from the wiles of Satan. I would surprise you this year, the 12th, the holy integer of completion. I would be a man, that husband who battles beside you, that partner who completes. My hand dives under covers and finds its mark, straight as an arrow, and you, my target. Let this be the pledge. Right. Yeah. Okay, so this is, I'm going to read another one. And, I really do have to thank, the patron saint of poetry here, at least for me. I have to thank Miss Connie Hales. She really just guided me along, and she always believed in my work. And, when I'm from Fresno, but I transferred to UC Davis. And then after UC Davis, I didn't know what to do. I had a couple of offers for some different MFA programs. I kind of didn't want to come back to Fresno because I was afraid of, getting back into old habits. So basically, this poem was written because I had a dream. And when you have a dream and you just know it means something, you really have to listen to it. So this poem is called Waterfall. I am from Fresno, a city that is tattooed over the width of my heart, a city that is little more than a tomb of poor children, where women leave infants in parked cars and scurry to dark apartments and hurry back, fix in hand, where men stare angrily from front yards, guns tucked at their waists, beer bottles in hand, where homeless veterans stand on countless corners, cooing to themselves incoherently, sign in hand. I grew up on these streets, a gun tucked at my waist, scurrying to get my fix, a scowl for a face, yet looking for a sign. I thought I'd know no other place. But I was accepted to UC Davis, a college 3 hours north. When I graduated with a BA, I didn't know what to do. How many of us feel that way? Anxious, alone, decisions weighing on our shoulders like the weight of great boulders. My older brother, a man I respect for his wisdom, for his eyes with which he sees the world a little more clearly than the rest, for his talent as a writer, something I'd always wanted to be, told me, "Don't go back to Fresno," pointing to that tattoo scrawled across my forearm. "You can't go back." But I'd left my 2 children behind, whose names I speak now like prayers, like sacred reverie, Cruz and Marina. I'd left their mother, a short, dark woman with a smile that could ignite bullets, who worked at Walmart, the tomb of the American dream, to pay bills. I was conflicted. Later that night, after my brother's worldly wisdom had unfurled into my ears and strangled my heart, I dreamed. I was at the edge of a great cliff, rushing waters pouring over the fold of rock, a furious waterfall. Standing on the embankment, I saw a tremendous ape on the other side, waving its hands and stomping its feet as movie apes are prone to do. Next to me was my brother. "Don't go near it. It will hurt you. It may kill you," he warned. But I couldn't help think that this wasn't your average bloodthirsty ape. Its eyes held the tears of a small child. Finally, the ape lost control and tumbled over the edge. I ran across the water, treading on it like some counterfeit prophet. When I looked down, it was indeed the body of my own son, Cruz, his brains shimmering behind his head, coating the rocks below. The next day I returned to Fresno. I had to protect my family. I've been trying to protect them ever since. God gives us dreams that seem like B-movies, like the residue of stupid YouTube videos we've watched, like fodder for bad poetry. Yet we must see past the tombs, see past the faces of the lost, see past our greatest fears, see the signs, cross the waterfall, and embrace.
Are we good on time?
Okay, I'm gonna do one more poem. And it's on my phone. I hate to be one of those people. And whatever you do, don't text me as I'm reading, please. Now everybody's gonna do it, right? Okay, so this isn't in the book, but I want to hear what it sounds like. So, you guys are my guinea pigs. I mean that in the best possible way, not because you just ate a bunch of tacos, okay? I'm very thankful again, once again, just thank you for inviting me. I even did my hair a special way. I parted my beard hair to the left, you can't tell. The Great, and it starts with an epigraph. "Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of God. From an upstairs window, I watch a young girl who, just months before, wore her Hello Kitty backpack proudly as she strolled through the Ghetto Wood apartments, her kinky black hair bouncing with sunlight. Now she is pregnant. I see the way she carries her weight all in front and think it a boy. Her name is Sarah, and from the balcony I once heard her say if it is a son, she wills his name to be Alexander, after a king from some faraway land. He will be different, so much different than his dad, some about-nothing nigga who would screw anything that moved. I see her approach her door. She will pull her key from the dark line of cleavage, grown even darker now, and place the length inside its lock. When she goes inside, I know she will find nothing, no one, just the stink of tobacco and empty beer cans, echoes of the excitement from the night before. She will take her shoes, stroke the taut skin of her soles, moist from heat, massage each swollen toe at the joint, and slowly exhale her mother's tired breath. And I will think of my daughter, pregnant with her second child by a second dad. And I will see Jesus on bent knee, the Lord dipping his disciples' feet in a wooden bowl so tenderly, cool water soothing dusty arches, the gentle touch as he cups their heels with his soon-to-be pierced hands.